some of the pioneers of the 70s repatriation came to Shashamane. Man like Jaflip and Flippin and many others. They came through that repatriation system that 12 tribe would have with the dances and the fundraising. So
Kingston, 12 tribe had a dues book. That dues book would allow you to go to Shashamane.
Yes.
But my problem is they gave you a number and you have to wait until your number come up. You know, and I when I graduated, my number still never come up. So I just leave 12 tribe and go Bobo Shanti, then we go to Bingi. But the first experience of Caucasian or Rastafari wearing locks was through 12 tribes.
Right.
Give thanks.
So you remember seeing European faces in the headquarters in the HQ?
Mainly with Jalov.
With Jalov, with the music?
Yeah, because Jalov music, you know, is road music with Brigadier Jerry Fredlocks, you know, Sangy Davis, all those great artists. So 12 Tribe is just music.
Yes.
And celebrations and banquets.
Yes.
And 12 Tribe is a group that mobilize themselves in Jamaica through different sections, like you'd have a lot of bikes, cars, emblems flying, outriders. So we were quite excited to learn about Ethiopia through 12 tribes also, and also to read the Bible, because with 12 tribes the policy is that you read a chapter a day. So if you didn't want to read the Bible, 12 tribes policy, you read a chapter a day, which was even good for I and I. So we had Bible discussions. But it's like with 12 tribes now, you send 12 people, each time you send a batch of 12 to Ethiopia. To 12 tribes, that's how we have the Ethiopian delegations there to make a bond in Shashamane.
Yes.
So 12 tribes has transferred their headquarters from Jamaica to Shashamane, even before the Nyabingi.
So Rasfagodi, I think that the music was kind of crucial in attracting people from the West.
Yes, honestly, you know, music is the real machinery of Rastafari liberty from that time until this time, especially sound system music, where you'll see in using Brigadier Jerry as a chanter, will chant right through the night, rolling up scriptures and lifestyle and healthy living. So 12 tribes is like a building ground for a conscious reality. 12 tribes is a place that you know slackness, and you know gun lyrics, and you know bad man talk. You just hear what we call righteousness. So 12 tribes is a joy to be in a 12 tribe dance. When in 12 tribe dance, the dance is so packed, you know, when police come, you hear the fasces among the races, and every man just go closer and closer and closer. And but sometimes the soldiers are 12 tribe man too. Some say, no man, I just come for a drawing, so just relax now. I don't really come for us, nobody. Don't just split me one. You see it? So it's a nice thing to be in 12 tribe, because I went to school, you know, go 12 tribe. And the greatest thing about 12 tribe, you have stage shows now. You could see Master Griffiths, and you could see the great Fred Locks, and you could see the great Ilawi. 12 tribe have their own band too. So really 12 tribe is a sound system, plus a concert, plus a banquet, plus a road show. You see, so the youths. 12 tribe is a mobilizing force for youths in Jamaica. Because we see 12 tribe before we know about Nyabingi still, you know, even have youth, that always means Bingi. Because Bingi now is more within the constraints of Nyabingi ruling, not a road thing. Not a, you won't see a Nyabingi on a university campus, but 12 tribe will be there. Because many students are those 12 tribe.
Give thanks. Well, this is interesting, getting back to Ras Ibi stories, because I didn't go to Jamaica for the music alone. Obviously, I mean, you didn't mind the music, you didn't mind the reggae music because you were involved in it from a long time, but it was a different kind of energy, because I mean, I went to ground with the Rastafari elders, and that was no reggae music involved, at least in the Bingi, during the ISIS, during that Iowa, that time. So Ras Ibi, can you recall a little bit the pictures of what you had around. I mean, when you go into a Rasta camp, I mean, for I and I now 2018, you know, let's take the time machine and go back a little bit. I mean, I am a young man coming from Europe. Okay, I reach Rastaman gates, I reach Tabernacle, I reach Rasta camp. What do I see? What is there around I?
A lot of what you see in the back house here.
Aye.
Yeah, same vibe. Virgin, sistering, functioning in love, you know, unity. In the early years, I mean, for me, I'm a young man in this, you know. I'm not an elder. Even Ras Flacco is an elder here, but we have elders. I don't consider myself to be such an old man. You know, I'm a little grey here, but it's just on the outside, you know. Inside, I'm very, very, yeah, I'm a young elder. So there, yeah, you would see the same thing, you know. And I mean, there was years earlier probably where you would see the more Rasta man gather, but them times in the 80s there was sisterings around also, you know, and that was always very interesting to because up in my area there wasn't much sisterings, you know, so take time to reason with the sisterings the same way, you know, and thing. And Rasta man has always been into the craft, you know, just like we did with music, the hand, because man know that devil find work for the idle hands. So every Rasta man learned that keep busy, keep not be busy minded or busy like in other people's affairs, but keep yourself busy with righteous work, good works, and you progress, you get life skills, and you keep away from folly and bad things. So there was always like that. People was doing guidance badges, people were doing juices. I live with this I culture the same way in it. So I think that was what was around I, you know. And there was time, I mean, I think it was very vibrant time. Yeah, it was a very vibrant time. There was like down in Montego Bay, it wasn't one market, one ital shop in the market. You know, there was many ital shops one could go to. Yeah, and there was not one little place where Rasta. No, Rasta all around the place. Like that. So Rasta, the impact where Rasta do in Jamaica is like one really have to go there to see and to understand how Rasta has been such a part of society in Jamaica and grown into, you know, take over and influence so much in Jamaica, from language to everything, attitudes, everything. So
was Bible reasoning there?
Yes, that was a very, I would say much more than today, because it's the elders, they are there was very, very, very few of the elders, as I remember, who ever had a chance to go to no university. The most were very short age term in school, but there was something that the Rasta man mastered, and it was the Bible. And man studied that day and night, and many times when people get locked up, Babylon lock you up for herb, you have 3 months, 6 months. A Bible you'd read, you know, from morning to evening. That's your food, you know, too much food you have. So man that's how even the ancient recognized that yes, majesty is majesty, you know, true. Them search the Bible very much. So the Bible reasoning, and that was the first way where with the Rastas too, that we connected, because wherever man says, Ras, reason with I, how did I come, where did I come from, you know, and thing, and you start to reason, and when you're reasoning out of the scriptures now, our next man know where you're depend. He know where you're coming from, the base of your reasonings, and like already if there was a rift or there was something, you know, you build over it, because we have a platform now. Okay, we're talking from this. So they cited. Okay, you know. So it was reasoning was a very big part of Rasta liberty, and which it should be today same way, you know. But I remember it. I remember it like it is for I today, and it's the way where Rasta really share. Rasta share, so everybody can get a part of that knowledge and get a piece of the cake, you know, without having, because it used to marvel I as a youth going to Jamaica, and you end up with young as a young man yourself with elder people, and they tell you I had 3 years ever I go to school, yet they can talk between everything between heaven and earth. and can talk for hours about many subjects and go into detail and very complicated matters, yet they never go to school. Where did this knowledge come from? From reasoning. So I was hungry for reasoning, you know. So we go search out reasoning with 12 tribes, with Nyabingi, with Bubu man, with EWF man. And we come back, and we come back. And so we grow. You know?
So do you think it's kind of different nowadays? I mean, concerning Bible?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's a new generation of ones who is in the same position as I was in the 80s, I would think. And if they feel that the only difference being that Rasta is more established in the Western world now. We have Rastafari, a base of Rasta in every country. So it's not like you cannot see nobody, and for that reason have to move. But if you feel that Jamaica is still that route where you have to go and seek out, then I recommend everybody to do that. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you went early 80s, do you remember the brethren and elders around you? If they had an occupation, what kind of occupation? Were they farmers? Were they mainly builder? Were they professional man? What was the situation?
Yeah, I'm like that. I think farming has been the backbone of the country's economy, and I economy in the same way. So every man is a farmer, whether it's in your balcony, your backyard, or on the field, like that. And then we had drum builders. Ras Eric was one of my first acquaintances in Jamaica.
Oh yes.
And he was the master builder of drums at that time. And I get to see him every time through the years, many years in a row, 20 years nearly in a row. I get to see him every year.
Did you get involved in any farming work when you were in Jamaica?
Yes,
during the years?
Yes, through Ras Mampi we do farming work. Yeah, because it's like he's a man where you don't really pay to stay in his house, but you help out with the farming. You want to eat, you work. Like that. And if we want to buy a sack of rice, we get together and share it.
Right.
So work is like that. Work is one of the commandments. It's not something we Rasta run away from. We love working, right? Yeah, there's any Rasta man around we don't like work. I know Rasta man that. Yeah man, Rasta man love the work, you know, Majesty work is glorious and we love that.
Give thanks. Any questions, observations, sharing, thoughts? Still have.
Oh, that's very funny reactions. Because so-called normal Jamaicans, you end up in the house of a normal Jamaican, you know. And they will start telling you things about Rasta. And say, oh, those Rastas, they are like that. But they forget that you is a Rasta, don't see you as a, you know. So they will tell you all kind of things, and in the end you have to start burning two fires now. I say, no man, no, so it go. These are the, and then you have to find yourself a new gate.
You know, the reality of Rastafari and Bible reading, and we read about Shem, Ham and Japhet, so we don't know say Ham was in Africa, and we don't know say the generations of Shem and Japhet must reconcile with the generation of Ham. So that is what we have seen over the many years, you see. Because we say His Majesty never draw no wire fence, never make no barrier, never make no landmass, so you can't go over there, so it's one world. And eventually, we'll have the world unification, wherein everyone is treated equal as the other one. And that's the beauty of Rastafari. So even in early days, when one of European strain come to Jamaica, you'll be skeptic and questions and swearing allegiance to His Majesty. Because we see, once come in there, and we say, what do you know about His Majesty? Say a psalms, give a prayer. And if you fail to do that, you're in trouble because you're not really Rasta. So you use Rasta and you have unlocks and you can't say a psalms and you can't give reverence. What do you know about Haile Selassie? You need to come with something so we can see. Because right now it's a testing ground. And you might go to Nyabingi and as you enter the gate, it's fire. And if you just cringe up around, you can't come back next time. You know, so those are what you have to be aware of. It is not something to scare you, but you are the last brother coming back from that generation. So what is your memory about your other brother who was always there? You must have a DNA connection to him. So we just want to verify, say, yeah, you come back with a good thoughts and a healthy mind, and then we'll come, we say, oh, okay, we're going to take what you have on, but we just want you to just relax and say, yeah, we are one, you know. And that's the beauty about Rastafari, of our open acceptance. Might be rough at a while, but remember, it is always there. Give thanks.
Yo salgo en 2011 con 18 años recién cumplidos de Seminario el 12 de octubre de 50 años de independencia y yo tenía familia, con mi familia, con mi madre, mis primos, y siempre estaba a
Jamaica trust. I feel like when I came to Jamaica, I was well prepared. I feel like going over the way.
Sí.
Whenever this kind of reaction was, we were here kind of maybe testing. I never felt here because I was well prepared.
Yeah, man.
So do you feel, Rastako, that kind of testing spirit that some might put upon a white brother? Do you feel that is something in order for making him grow, or is something in order to trouble him? I mean, does it have a positive essence, a positive will, or just something like conflictual?
But I could even more clarify, it's not for the Caucasians alone, you know, because some Rastafari would say, you know, it's black power and black liberation and no other race mustn't be involved. So no other man cannot be Rasta but a black man. Man and man, we hear that too. So you have a Rasta man with the extremists. Am I saying black liberation, that's a chant, but it does specifically need to come. Remember, out of Africa came everybody, you know. So no matter figure say you don't have an African roots or blackness within you, it's some way trace it, come back, you will find it. So, you know, so we just know that. But the sentiments is a black and white thing, but it's not racial. That's how one kind of view it in two contexts, black and white, rich and poor. So when you're looking at it in that context, you don't necessarily exactly have to be so, and don't feel offended if that is thrown at you. You see, but I'm not have an Indian look and say, Iraq Indian go home. You know, belong to Jamaica. Jamaica belong to we. So the Indian man get born to car. Indian man say, oh, you know, Rasta is Indian. Where you coming at this? It's African thing. So we say, it is there, and we know. You have to be conscious that these things are there, as they say in Obingi. So when you are conscious, it doesn't affect you. But if you are not prepared, you're going to end up in shock, and maybe if you have lax, we just trim it. You know, see, and go back to your old ways. But what we say, go back to what? The life that you live in, not going back to it. So what is the purpose of the change and come to this and go back to it? What is there for you? You can't go over Jordan and turn back, you know. You better you go drown. So we check it. So you have to just firm and swim and paddle or float or go to the next side. So the testing ground is good. Then if you bake a pudding, you must test it. If you make a sip, you go and taste it. You see? So, you know, you sample thing and you say, yeah, it is good for you. If you're a smoker and a man get a spliff, maybe you might want to smoke it, but you take a little draw on your own until you get accustomed to the taste and the feeling. And a man not going to go get up and smoke a chalice because he don't know about chalice. Take a time gradually until you get the chalice feeling, you know. So normally you learn about Rastafari, you take your time, go, and learning never ceases, but it's still learning stop at the grave. So you're going to limit yourself, so you know everything, you don't know nothing yet, and you're just learning. So we give thanks.
Yes.
I think it's like gold. Gold, to know gold is gold, right? How we do with gold? Anybody know?
Furnace.
Yeah, you put it in the fire. That's what Rasta is about. So when one is put in through the fire test now, it's just a purification, you know, to see if this is pure gold, you know. And when you go through 7 times, even 7 times 7, there can be nothing more than goodness in that goodie, you know. So it's a fire test, really. Reasoning is good. Is for that, you know. It's for in Jamaica they say it's good to talk. You know, sometimes if man don't talk, you carry grudges. So man need to reason within Rasta circles. Sometimes for people when they see two Rasta man sometimes reasoning, they would call it arguing or something. But Rasta man reason, but Rasta man bring out all kind of emotion sometimes. You know, the reasoning, and it might look very terrifying for next man. You know.
So yes, this is where I wanted to reach. You know, the fact that what you can see from outside and what from outside can look like intimidating, like conflictual, like putting stress upon man, is in truth and indeed a kind of purging experience. Yes. So when an elder is kind of testing a youth, especially if he's coming from different background, different nations, different complexion, you know, it doesn't have to be taken necessarily. Well, obviously, unless there is violence, unless there is like verbal, like explicit aggression and lack of education, we could say lack of manners. But it doesn't have to be taken like something that have to make you depressed or have to make you lose your way, but must be taken as something that is testing you and test your faith, and something that he come directly from the King, from life. Life is putting you to a test to see what your faith is about, which level you are. So this is what I think. This is the way I think we should look at those kind of situations. You know, as Ras Ibi was saying, there was no rejection. This is a very important thing that we have to look at. There was no rejection. There might have been testing, there might have been confrontation, but there was no rejection. So the elders say, okay, I'm going to test this man, I'm going to test this generation, but I'm not going to reject. And this is good. This is very, very genuine, because there is not that stand that would allow you to just reject upon a premises of nothing or prejudice. You know, so they would be open after reasoning and confrontation. They would be opening to this next chapter, because they were not ready yet. I mean, they didn't experience it yet, because that was a new part of the prophecy, we could say. You know, but they didn't block it. They did not block it, and I think this is a beautiful thing, you know, that I want to highlight, because this carries a lot. This carries a lot of humbleness, you know, in front of a picture that was maybe even bigger than what they thought. Yes, Rastako.
I give thanks. There's a beauty about everything, and sometimes ones are a little more, not really privileged, but have an easier access. If you know a Rastafari who will take you to the house, like we say, you just trod with him. So when you go to and trod with him, you'll have curious eyes, but no one will say anything about you. No one will even ask you a question. They might come and say, you want us to play for something friendly, you know. But maybe if you go alone, ones might ask you more questions. But if you trod with ones, and it's fine, so you're well protected, you know people around, and it's a cushion for most things. And sometimes you might be still going, no one didn't say anything to you, they just nothing to speak to you, they just want to observe how you behave, you know. But there's a rules with cameras in Bingi, and it's posted outside, no cameras, no videoing, no recording. So, but we see those rules break even, because people doing things now. And when we still look at it, we see His Majesty's most photographed person, so it's time we reveal certain things and what we do, that it can be more global, so people learn more about Rastafari. Because if we don't record things and we don't video things, but it have to be controlled, so it don't go in the wrong hands. So knowledge is key, same way. Is the ancient and the modern that goes hand in hand, so we have to take the best of both and make it happen, you know? Rastafari.
Yes, Any other question from the family? Any other observation? Well, give thanks. Give thanks. Ras Ibi, want to seal up? Want to say just some final things?
Rastafari.
Haile Ai.
Haile Ai.
Selassie.
Haile Ai.
Selassie.
Emperor Haile Ai.
Selassie Ai.
First ancient king of creation. Yeah, man. Good and pleasant to have you here, you know. Family reasonings, family vibes. Yeah, we're taking it day by day here. This was day 3. We're starting to get a little warm, as you observe. Sweat is flowing here. And yeah, glad to have you here. Just please reason with us, you know. And these are not supposed to be monologues. Yeah? So it's good we have family here, but yes, more feel free to talk, feel free to ask questions, you know, if there is something along.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Clara.
Yeah.
Y vengo
Otherwise, just thankful, you know, thankful for taking your time here at Rototom.
de tierra radical revolucionaria.
Full
Yes,
join
I-
with I&I.
yes, I give
Rastafari,
thanks.
Thanksgiving.
Give thanks. So we're gonna see each other tomorrow here, same time. We're gonna be talking about the person of His Imperial Majesty and the international impact that the work of His Imperial Majesty had on the world. So because we're looking at internationalization, sorry, this word is always difficult for me to say. This internationalization of Rastafari across borders. So obviously King Haile Selassie I is I&I inspiration, and we know that His Majesty worked in this state of mind. You know, he did not look at one country or one nation or one continent, but his work was really for the purpose of alleviating the suffering of mankind everywhere, not only in Africa. His Majesty did not come to liberate only Ethiopia. Maybe started from Ethiopia, Africa, and then the whole world. That's why we wanted to name the panel of tomorrow for as the lightning comet out of the east. That is like obviously a verse from the Holy Scripture, yes, from the Book of Life. So the impact of Haile Selassie I on a world in transition. So make sure you don't miss that one, because we're gonna be highlighting the marvels of the works of His Imperial Majesty. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of the day, and make me just remind last thing. If you're anytime hungry or thirsty, yes, we have beautiful juice, idle food just inside here, you know. Just take this liquor way inside, and you will find fresh food. And I want to say this because the profit of this will go to help Rastafari elders in Jamaica. So we're doing this on a humanitarian level, see? So support your guts, support your taste, and support the elders. Selassie I, love.
Yo te estoy hablando de